Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Rental Store. Thank you for joining us on episode 298 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, here with Trevor and Damon. What's going on, guys?
So what would happen if, Tom lost his voice next week and we couldn't record 299?
Oh, man, that'd be tough. We'd have to just do something.
We would have to do something.
I've powered through not having a voice on this show before. Trevor, you have it too, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it's different. You know, you're coming up on the live show.
Yeah. I'll have to do all the things scary. That the voice artists do to
you have to do lemon and honey and all that.
Yeah. Let's get some good herbal teas going and get everybody in good shape before the pod or before the live show.
Got to keep the pipes all greased up.
I have to realize, I have to figure out what I'm wearing for the live show. That's a whole fit situation.
See, I'm just gonna rock my Welcome Home Podcast polo with the old logo on it.
Okay,
not the newer one. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna wear. I think. I mean, I see. I don't really give that much thought to what I'm wearing in a general basis. Just
I don't usually, but yeah. I mean, for something like this, I feel like I have to figure out what I want to wear.
Yeah, so I know I've been repeating this every episode, and people are probably tired of me saying this, but I'm going to say it until the date of the event. So we have our 300th episode live event. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's at a place called Old Mecklenburg Brewery. It's happening on March 29th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. We have free food. We'll have free giveaways. We have
a live band. Oh no, sorry.
We probably will have a live band,
but just be a live band.
Yeah. So the room that we're in has a patio, and they do live music outside pretty much every weekend. So yeah, there probably will be live music there. So, but also we'll be recording a live podcast too. So that'll be a lot of fun. But it'd be
a lot of fun when the band's super loud and you can't hear the podcast. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, they shouldn't. They're usually pretty far away from the building, but we'll see. We'll see. We should be okay. But listen, if you haven't RSVP'd yet, you can still go in and get tickets. We're okay with some last minute stragglers here, so feel free to still go and go to what is it, welcomehomepodcast.com/300th event or 300 event.
Yeah,
300
something like that.
Yeah, 300 event. You can still get tickets; they're still there. So if you haven't done it yet, please do it. As soon as you can. I know some people can't make decisions that far out and have to think about it more, and that's fine. Like I said, we have some room for last minute people. So so please join us. It's gonna be a good time. Right? We're gonna have fun. So
I mean, the food will be good regardless of how the podcast is. So there's that.
Well, there is that. Yes, we have a lot of food coming. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna, it's gonna be nice. So anyway, anything else you guys want to talk about before we?
I want to talk about this Lilo and Stitch thing that you tried to stick at the end. Which
I
looked at it, and it's right before food, so I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to take
we're not
that.
even doing DVC news first. We're going straight to Lilo.
No, we're going straight into Lilo and Stitch, man.
Okay, hold on.
We have to.
So what people probably don't realize is when I write the rundown for the show, especially when I know Damon's going to be on, I typically will try to put things that I think No, I didn't know this time. You're right. But typically I try to evaluate what I think you're going to find interesting and then put that at the top of the rundown.
But again, the weather and my kids leaving to go back to school early kind of changed my plans today. So here I am.
Yeah, so he is here. We did not expect Damon today, but he's here, so it's good. But yeah, Lilo and Stitch trailer. So Disney put it out there that they had the second highest views of any live action trailer in 24 hours. It was 158 million or 54. I don't know. I got to go back to the article.
Mm-hmm.
158 million views within 24 hours. I watched it. But Damon, you sound like you have thoughts.
There's just something wrong with
There's
Stitch.
Just something wrong, really?
So here's the thing: we can't figure it out. So we've had a discussion. I've had a discussion with
in your
my
house?
family and other people. Yeah, just so is he too well done? Is the color just make it weird for live action?
Because he's not badly done. He looks good.
Absolutely not. He's gorgeously done, but there's something off. I can't place my hand on it. And immediately when I asked my daughter, I said, "Hey, so take a look at this," and see. She goes, "Yeah, there's something a little off." And I was like, "Yes, exactly. So I feel the same way. Yeah. We can't put our hand on it." And again, I almost want to say that she said that he looks like a bunny. I said, yeah, he doesn't
He
really
looks too
look like
cuddly?
an alien. He looks too much like a bunny.
He looks
Like-
too cuddly, is what you're saying? You want
Yeah,
to look like,
there's something weird there that I think this doesn't translate over to live action, because what we were kind of saying is, you have like Chip and Dale, right? And Chip and Dale is known to be cartoon. Like, in theory, in the world of Lilo and Stitch, right? Like, he's supposed to be real.
Stitch
I don't
just
know.
real
I
Lilo.
like it an awful lot. And if I took Stitch when he was stomping sandcastles, I had nothing to say about it. But now all of a sudden with because again, he looked good, but he was stomping sandcastles.
Yeah.
Like, now that he's like live action, there's something off, man. Listen, it's going to kill. It's going to do awesome. The story's going to be great, but there's still something off there, man.
I have to tell you, Lilo and Stitch is one of those movies that like can, what, I don't know how to put this, get you, can get you emotional in the movie, because of just the story and everything. And I was interested to see if you could still pull out that same amount of emotion with the live action. And I thought it was still there in the trailer. Like, I thought, it still was, tugging at the heartstring kind of thing. So, I mean, I thought it looks pretty good as far as the trailer goes. Now, is it the exact copy of the movie? Sure. And that's what they've been doing with most of the live actions, and maybe throwing in some other things here and there. But, for the most part, it's exactly the same as the animated one. But I could see myself seeing this. I thought it looked pretty good in the trailer. And I understand what you're saying, though, Damon. It's hard.
It's a little something weird, man.
I think I know what it is. It's his eyes.
It's the eyes?
The eyes are what's doing it, I think. I'm watching it as you guys are talking here. The thing is that in the animated one, his eyes, like, they're big and black, but they have like, there's a little bit more ability to give emotion to it, and there's a little bit of white around his eyes. I feel the fact that they did like these just straight black eyes makes him look
Seal
like
eyes.
Yeah, like, it's
interesting.
I think it's the eyes that are doing it for you.
If I had to take a guess at it, for me, I think it might be the fur. Like, there's just something about the fur. Is like,
the fur looks like it looks like a plush doll. Like,
yes, he looks more like a plush than he. You know what? It's like, it's almost like Ted. Wait, is that show with the bear?
Yeah, Ted.
Like,
that's the Farland one you're talking about.
Yeah. Like, like, if you were to like say, hey, this is a show about this alien plush that comes to life, absolutely.
I mean, that's the premise of it, kind of, but without the plush coming to life. Like, but he's basically like a.
But he's not a plush, right? He's supposed to be an alien. Like, when I go to Ted, I say, okay, I know exactly that is a plush come to life. So I can, like, I feel it, like it fits in. And for here, it's like, there's just not alien enough. I don't know. Listen, I'm being nitpicky. I'm super nitpicky about certain stuff, especially when it makes me weird. And it just kind of hit me weird.
Well, you're also
the one out of 8 billion people that complains about it. I get that, right? And I'm not complaining just to complain. It's just really how I feel.
Just off, yeah. Trevor, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just comparing the animated to the live action one, and yeah, I think for me it's definitely the eyes feel a lot more like they don't have. Yeah, it's so hard to describe, right? Like it
is. It's just something
there's
off.
There's something about the emotion on the animated one, like the way that the eyes are drawn, even though they are black eyes. There's like lighting. There's like extra stuff around the eyes that I think give him that sense of emotion. Whereas the live action one are like, it feels like you're staring at a doll. Like it looks like they look like doll eyes, and that's, I think that's for me. That's
definitely
because the eyes
only
are
podcast
really,
that's complaining about this.
But I don't care, because you know what, we can definitely talk about this stuff. It doesn't mean that, like you said, it's not that we're not going to see the movie or whatever. But I think it's fair to point out things like this, because you're right.
It just hit me weird. It just hit me a little bit weird. That's all.
I didn't find it weird. I didn't notice anything, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. And I kind of watched it on my phone, I think. So I wasn't watching it like on a TV or anything. So I don't know.
Yeah. Now that I've gone back and watched the trailer again here, it's like, I agree with you, Damon, that, it looks like the show will be great and it'll be fine because you know what Lilo and Stitch is already. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I think this is the same problem, or not the same problem, but a similar problem to like the first round they did with Sonic in the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, where it was like he looked wrong. Like,
but he looked really bad there. Like, I feel like this is just slightly off,
Yeah, and I feel like whoever did it, like they were going for like he has to look like a real alien. It's like, yeah, but in the animated show, he had like you have to factor in that it was a cartoon, and you don't have to do like hyper realistic all the time. Like, I don't know, it just.
If they probably went the other way, though, they would have gotten criticized endlessly for.
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's no winning.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like if they made him flatter, they were like, "Oh, look how bad the CGI is." That's what the whole internet would have been like,
Well, but
dude, we needed a puppet. We needed a Stitch puppet,
right?
man.
Yeah,
a Stitch puppet.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I think the casting looks excellent in that movie. Just from the trailer. I mean, the person playing Lilo and the person playing all the other characters, the sister whose name is escaping me at the moment, but like and the sister's boyfriend or whatever, they all look really good compared to the characters in the movie. Like they casted it very well. It looks like it's going to be fun and funny and like exactly kind of how Lilo and Stitch is, and also just super sad because that's how Lilo and Stitch was at the end. Actually, through the whole thing, that movie is a kind of a sad and funny movie.
I didn't really like the movie either. I mean,
really?
No, not really.
Yeah, well,
it just wasn't like one of those movies that like I was like, oh, I love this. It's like, oh yeah, whatever.
I feel like it's gotten much more popular than it was when it first came out.
I think it had a lot of competition when it came out. I think that's what got it for me. Like, I just don't remember it hitting so hard because there was just so many other things, kind of going on at that time.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, and it was also fighting, I guess, this was like back when 3D or like 3D rendered stuff was like new and fresh and all that. And it was kind of fighting against a lot of other like Toy Story and like DreamWorks movies and like, yeah, you're right. It kind of hit at a weird time, but I think it's one of those ones that over time it grew and it found that it found its following. And the thing about is, you're right. It's sad because it does touch on like, family dynamics that are not, or like it's a different family than you're used to seeing, I guess, in a Disney movie up until that point.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
It's
we'll say too. Go ahead, Sergio.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess I can see why it's one of those you either like it or you don't like it movies,
sure,
which is fair. Yeah,
I feel like it's less polarizing than like a Nightmare Before Christmas kind of movie, right? Like because there's a lot of people that really love that movie and a lot of people that really hate it. I feel like it's Lilo and Stitch. You don't really hate it. It's just you just kind of whatever it.
Exactly. Yeah, like I don't dislike it. I'm just like whatever.
Yeah, there's not hate there. It's just like, oh, Stitch.
No, like the stupid Nightmare garbage. Yeah, I don't like.
I just wish they'd stop pushing Nightmare Before Christmas because it's not like they've done anything.
It's never going away though because it's a holiday show. It's never.
It's not a good one though.
Oh man, you guys are I listen. I'm not into it, but there are several of our listeners probably have like a Nightmare Before Christmas tattoo on them somewhere. Like
and they're fine, and I'll die on the hill that they need to just stop doing the overlay in Disneyland.
I know that's what you want. Yeah. I know. Well, I wonder if they actually can do anything else with that property. Like, does Tim Burton still own that property? Like, does Disney have it, or can Disney even do anything else with it without Tim Burton? I don't know. But Tim Burton hasn't done anything for them in a while now. So
yeah, I was gonna say I feel like if Disney really wanted to, they could do something with it.
Yeah, of course.
Also, maybe find something new.
Well, but that's the other thing too, right? Like leave well enough alone, right? If why,
But that gets me to this whole Lilo and Stitch thing too, right? Like why? Like why do we need a live action, man?
Listen, that's fair, and I think the argument Disney's made for a while based is trying to expose them to a new generation, but at the same time, really the answer is money. They're going to make a ton of money on this, so it's I mean, it's not like people aren't going to see these things. I mean, the Aladdin one made over $1 billion. The Mufasa movie was
crazy. Like, I already know what happened. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good, man. Like,
they added some different things in there, but it was a little different.
The same story, I'm sure.
I'm not rewatching a movie that I've already watched. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I get other people will for sure, and I get kids will. So, I mean, it's definitely a win for them, but I don't see the need. It's like, when someone asks you, like, there's only probably a handful of books that I've read more than once because, like, I already read that. My wife reading a book again. Like, why? Like, you already read it.
There's very few things in this world that I'm like, I need to go back and do that again. You're right. Really? I'm kind of the same way, that it's like, when it comes to, movies, video games, whatever, it's like there's probably a handful that I'm like, yeah, I could go back and play this, play this game or watch this movie. But the vast majority, it's like, once I played it once, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to touch it again.
See, I tend to rewatch. I rewatch series that I really like. I'll do like series rewatches, but it's like background. You know what I mean? So because I know what happens, that's more background noise than anything.
That's different than like
paying attention and fully watching.
Yeah, because you're like, I get that is, it's good to have background noise, and it's good to put on something that you don't. And I think that's part of it, is that if it's a show that you don't have to focus on because you already know what happens. Yeah, that makes sense. Exactly. But if I'm looking for something to watch or play a game, I'm not going through, what did I watch 20 years ago? But it's funny because like my wife, this actually makes for a bit of, or not friction, but like my wife will do that where it's like she'll get on like a kick for like Jurassic Park movies, and she'll go back and watch like she'll watch them in order, right? And I'll be like, why are you watching this again? I already know what happens, or like it's stored in my head, and I don't need to replay it again. Yeah. But she likes that. Like she enjoys rewatching those movies, and that's fine. It's just, that's not what I like to do.
It is funny because I haven't rewatched like Home Improvement since it came out to streaming just now. Right. But it is funny how often, and I think I've talked about it on the show, that I've been rewatching Home Improvement just because it showed up on Netflix, and I was like, Home Improvement was fun. And I've been rewatching it, and it's like, you remember some of the storylines somehow. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, even though like you don't remember the whole episode, you're like, oh, I know what's going to happen in this one. Like, or even another one that came up too. I was floating around Hulu, and I saw that Sabrina the Teenage Witch was on there. I loved that show when I was younger. I mean, I think I had a crush on Melissa Joan Hart, but that's outside of, but
that's irrelevant.
That show was fun though. Like, it was a good show. Like, it was funny. The cat was funny. It was the same voice as the one Angry Beaver, like it's from the Angry Beavers, so you hear that guy's voice, but it's going back to some of those things. And it's like, man, I haven't seen this in at least, over 20 years, but I somehow remember some of these things that happen. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's my problem with it, is that I do remember I'll start watching it and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this episode. And then it's like, I immediately will be like, oh, this is how this episode ended. And so then I don't want to keep watching it, because even if I don't have it like available in my head, like at the time, it's watching the episode triggers it. And then I kind of like play through it way faster than the show goes. So the rest of the show becomes boring.
my brother-in-law is like encyclopedic about this stuff, right? Like he can remember all of this, but we were watching this. Everyone's going to laugh at me for this, and I don't care. We were watching 90s wrestling, like late 90s, early 2000s, when WWE was like really great and really fun. Yeah. And like literally we're watching a match, and he's like, oh, this is going to end with a choke slam. And this, like, he knows the exact thing that's going to happen. And I'm like, how do you remember that? Like, I can remember some things, but not all of them, like, I don't know. Maybe I just have poor memory, but
again, it depends on what's of interest to you as well, right? Like I can tell you all the strategies for Super Mario 3 because I played it so many times when I was a kid, because I didn't have other things to play or didn't have a bunch of Nintendo games. So it's like, oh yeah, I know where the 1-ups are. I know how to get to the, the secret mushroom house in World 1. So, but why do I need to know that?
All my Nintendo games were garage sale finds, I think. Like, I think I would get Nintendo games like way after they came out, and my mom would go and buy them at like used at a garage sale or something. That was always the case for me.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong.
I had no problem with it. I don't care. I mean, it was a smart way to save money back in the day. And then there was probably no GameStop nearby. So
I had a bunch that I bought from pawn shops. Like when I was an adult, it was like there was, people were selling off their Nintendo collections, and I bought a bunch of used games from pawn shops, which now are worth a lot more money because they've crossed into the collector's realm.
I have a bunch of Sega Genesis games floating around. I have my dad gave me my old Sega Genesis. I tried plugging it in. It does not turn on. So I don't know if it's like sad. Yeah, I don't know if it's like straight up broken. I mean, it's literally been sitting in a closet for like 20 years at least. Probably longer than that. Thinking about that, probably like 25, 30 years. So
you can probably play, or if you have Nintendo Switch Online, they have a lot of the Genesis games on there. But
they do.
We're totally down a rabbit hole, but I don't care. I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite Genesis game?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one. You got to make me really think back. It was probably something Sonic related. I always love Streets of Rage. Remember
yes, thank you.
Good.
Dude, Streets of Rage.
Altered Beast, though. Altered Beast is a tough one to beat, too.
Altered Beast was good, but Streets of Rage, I think, had it beat just because the co-op was so good.
It was so good, and I used to play Streets of Rage probably more than anything else. I was a big Sega guy for the longest time, and then I was Sony, and then I did, then I went over to Xbox, but I mean, and also Nintendo too. I've had all like the different systems basically. So
it's just a matter of where the games are. It's not like being loyal to one brand or the other for consoles.
I wish I still had my Dreamcast. That would be cool.
I still have mine.
Really? Oh man! I remember when I got my Dreamcast, I was like, "Oh, this is the coolest thing ever!" Like at the time, it was awesome.
There was so many good games on Dreamcast.
There was, yeah. Anyway,
Samurai Showdown.
Samurai Showdown, yeah. Jet Set Radio was my speed.
Jet Set Radio was pretty good.
They're supposedly doing a new one, but we'll see.
Until I get a new Parappa the Rapper.
Oh man. yeah. Parappa the Rapper. Did you ever play Jammer Lammy as well?
No.
I felt that was a really good spin-off in the Parappa universe. Yeah, we could have a whole podcast
all over the
video
place.
games. Let's get back to what we
need to create a separate podcast for video game talk.
Yeah, for sure.
So I listen. This is not even really news. This is just. I just thought this was kind of interesting. So DVC posted a picture of what I guess is going to be the logo for the Frontierland DVC Lounge, or. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering how this is going to work. Like, is it going to be Club 33-esque where there's just like a little scanner and a door and you got to like walk up to there? I'm assuming they're going to have a cast member sitting outside, but it says the Frontier's best kept secret, which is kind of evoking, they say Disney's best secret is DVC. So, I don't know.
You're being a little too literal, though. I don't think it's going to be anything hidden or anything like that.
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's probably going to be pretty obvious where the lounge entrance is. But I do like this logo. It's kind of cool. It's in the Frontierland style, Yeah,
it reminds me of like the Country Bear like signs and stuff like that. But yeah, I wonder where, or this looks like they painted this onto bricks somewhere on the side of a building, which again, I wonder, like, you're right, there's going to be probably a kiosk with a DVC member standing there, but this feels like it feels like they're goading people into like coming and looking at it by saying best kept secret, right? Like it's such,
I just don't know how this lounge is going to be. Like I'm
interested.
Well, and again, just from like, the Epcot lounge is interesting because I just don't feel that there's as many kids in Epcot as there is in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah,
that's fair.
In general, is this going to be like like a saloon? Is it going to be like just a whirlwind of like kids crying, diaper changes, bottles? Like,
I just imagine people doing diaper changes on the couch.
Yes, this is the feeling that I get.
No, I don't think it'll be that. I think it'll be okay. I can't imagine that people would. I mean, I guess they would. I've seen people do diaper changes in all sorts of crazy places. So.
I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot more tired kids
in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, the chance to run into a lot of families in Magic Kingdom is higher than Epcot, because you're right. Epcot is more towards adults, and then further to that is DVC members. You're not. I can attest to the last couple times we've been there that. There is a couple of families in there, but it's not. I feel there's way more adults in the Epcot lounge than kids at any given time.
By the way, the more I look at this picture, the more I think this isn't real.
Why do you say that?
What I mean by isn't real, I mean it's not. They didn't paint this on a wall and then take a picture of the wall. It looks like Photoshop to me. The more I look at it, but I could be wrong. They might have actually painted this on a wall. I don't know.
If this isn't on a wall, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Right? Don't put it out there unless it's gonna be on a wall. Right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's not gonna be. I'm just
it should be in Frontierland. It shouldn't look like. It shouldn't look proper. It shouldn't look like somebody like did a nice poster or whatever. It should look like it was painted on a wall because that's like Frontierland type stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's Frontierland. Exactly. All right. Anything else about this before we move on to parades? And I know Damon's going to be out on this.
Parades. Wait, I have to look real quick. What else is there? Parades? Definitely not. Call It Imagineering.
Toys? What about toys? No? Bluey toys? I put that on there.
All right, everyone. That was a good show for me. Thank you.
I thought you'd be interested in the Bluey toys. All right.
Well, I mean, if move Bluey toys above this nighttime Coco float. Let's talk about Bluey toys.
Let's talk about Bluey toys then. Because first of all, this first one here is a Bluey hide and seek game. I assume that you just hide the actual Bluey figure, and then people go and look for it.
I like that. We have, so that happens with my kids now. There's this maraca, right? And for whatever reason, it's turned into the maraca game. So now that the kids are like at school for a while and they're not at school, like they hide the maraca in the house, and like you got to find it like when you come home. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yes, okay. I like this Bluey. Hide and seek Bluey sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Apparently, like you press a button on it and it talks and giggles every few seconds. So it so you kind of can be led to it. I'm just imagining myself. My daughter wants to play hide and seek with me all the time, and I'm not exactly the smallest person and can't really hide very well. So if I want to do this, I could just hide that instead of myself.
Yeah, that's such a mail-in, Tom. Stop.
Oh yeah, it's not. Listen, I'm still doing the hiding piece. There's not a lot of good places for me to hide. Anyway, so there's a Bluey dump truck, which looks pretty cool.
Standard I could see myself doing YouTube videos with the Bluey family trip figure playset for sure. Wait, when are these out though?
I think they're out now.
No, that's no fun then.
Because I looked up the hide and seek one because I wanted to get it, and it's out there. It's on Disney Store. So
okay.
Cash register is kind of interesting. Reminds me of the old Fisher Price ones, but it's all.
But like cash registers don't exist anymore, so it's kind of like
they do. What are you talking about? They still exist.
What store do you go to with a cash register?
Harris Teeter, the grocery store. They still.
I never get on like an actual line. Yeah, like I always self checkout. Yeah. So
I do self checkout for most things. I do self checkout for most things. If I have a ton of groceries, though, I usually will go to the
If we do a big shop, we go through the checkout.
Even Costco now though has self checkout. Like
yeah, we're getting a Costco finally. The closest one is in Raleigh, and it's just too far, man. I can't do it. So we have Sam's Club. But I do miss Costco.
Yeah.
Costco delivers, right?
Far, though?
It's like 35 minutes. And the other thing, too, with Costco, I did keep a membership for like a year doing the same thing, but they charge. It's not even Sam's Club now. Like, you have to order so much stuff. It used to be you could just get everything like shipped for free when you had the Plus membership.
Now you got to
not anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Amazon gets me with that every time where they're like, spend $10 more and we'll send it overnight for free. And I'm like,
I was having this discussion yesterday. I have just a go-to, like we always need vitamins in this house. So like anytime I need something overnight, I just put vitamins on it. I get myself to the 20. Always just vitamins. There's always the need for vitamins. I ordered something on Amazon and it came in like 3 hours. And I'm just like, see, what do I need to go to the store for?
You never have to leave your house again, David.
No, I love that.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, so just looking at some other things here, there's
Tea Party's interesting.
The Tea Party's cool. The travel, you said you were talking about the family trip figure playset that you would play with.
Yeah, I love figures. These biscuits, though, I feel like people are eating them. Like that's the problem.
They're gonna be made of wood, though. I mean,
Are they made of wood or plastic?
Yeah, I'm guessing wood. They look like wood to me, but I could be wrong.
It's cardboard.
And it's a cardboard box. Yeah, that's getting destroyed in 5 minutes.
10 seconds. Yeah. that's totally true. I actually like this.
Why do they all have towels on their head though? They're on a spa vacation.
Yeah, probably. I think that's. I don't know if there's an episode that correlates directly to that, but
I don't think I've actually seen a full Bluey episode. Like I know about Bluey, but I don't know if I've seen a full blown episode.
I mean, they're only 8 minutes long, so you could bust
I just don't think I've done it though.
I listen, Damon. If you really want to, I can recommend some to you because there's some really great episodes of Bluey.
I'm still just on Peppa Pig and trying to figure out what this sibling is going to be. Okay, like I have my own issues over here.
Is Peppa Pig still on?
Not only is Peppa Pig still on, it's huge, and it's getting bigger. Like
I just assumed they stopped making them, and all I've been seeing for all this time is reruns.
No, Peppa Pig is getting a sibling.
Oh wow! Well, Peppa has already got a sibling, George.
Well, another one.
Oh, okay. So there's gonna be a third.
Yeah, it's Peppa, George, and a baby.
God, why did I know that? Ugh. I mean, I guess we watch Peppa Pig a lot in my house. So,
and the new amusement park in Dallas.
Yeah, there's the new and the one in Florida too. I've been to that one. I'm sure it's probably just about the same thing. Yeah. But anyway, this is some cool stuff though. I mean, it definitely skews littler kid, which I feel like Bluey isn't as little kid as maybe Peppa is or Paw Patrol, but it's still, it's still for young kids, obviously. But it skews a little bit older, I feel like.
Yeah, but looking at how small some of the stuff is, they're not for like toddlers. It's
not. Yeah. My daughter still likes Bluey, so I mean, that's not ended. She's going to be 7 soon here, so. And I do think she's coming to the meetup, so you'll get to meet my daughter if you come to the meetup. I don't know what I'm going to do otherwise, so she's going to have to come. But anyway, so
your wife's away, right?
Yeah, she's away for the weekend, so I'm hopeful that my parents are going to be in town.
Like just going to get? Oh yeah, I was going to say, like, is this some random podcast person going to watch your kid while we record?
We're going to figure that out. It's going to be figured out. Somebody's going to help me. I mean, it might be one of our friends in town is going to come to the event and watch my daughter for me if my parents. Okay. But my parents should be in town to watch her, so hopefully we can do that. Anyway. So there's no other ones on here that I thought were super cool. It's just Bluey. I want to say catching up, but now they have so much branded stuff. It's crazy. You just see Bluey stuff everywhere now. During the pandemic, when it started, you didn't. Sorry, Trevor.
You would expect. You're right. It seems like Disney always waits until like it hits a certain critical mass, and then it's just everywhere. Right?
Like the machine ramps up, and all of a sudden it's like it's on everything.
Yeah,
they just know how to do that. I mean, given they've been doing it a long time. I mean, that's Disney. Mickey merchandise basically kept them afloat back in the day. So
that's true.
Yeah. So it's not surprising they have this machine that they know how to sell consumer goods. They just do. So I mean, I don't know how rich the guy that created Bluey is at this point, but he has to be making a ton of money. It's got to be crazy. Because I've said it before on the show that it's estimated to be worth $1 billion, that franchise. So I mean which is insane to me, but it's huge. I mean it's everywhere.
I'm sure he's got some contracts set up with Disney, like similar to how like in the past, like George Lucas and whatnot. Like before percentage. Yeah, but before Star Wars got sold off, he was making money for sure off of just it existing and, things like Star Tours being in the parks and lunch boxes and was it there's like C-3PO cereal at one point.
Well, so let's talk about this for a second. There was Bluey cereal at the grocery store. I saw it the other day. Oh, okay. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's no discernible flavor on the front of this of what this actually is. Right?
Do you think any cereal has a specific flavor? I felt like it was either you got marshmallows or no marshmallows or
cinnamon toast. See, I always liked Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Golden Grahams personally. Those were my favorites, and because those two did taste different to me. But to your point, I just was looking at it and I was like, this looks like they just took Kix and they made them like a little blue, which I'm pretty sure is what they did. So because my daughter's like, can we buy it? And I was like. Well, I know you're not going to eat this. Like you just want this for the box, but I bought it anyway because I'm a sucker. And sure enough, it was like flavor. It was basically it was Kix with just blue food coloring on it. Basically, it's like come on, guys,
no different than it's no different than when we were growing up. I really wanted the Super Mario Brothers cereal, and it was the same thing. That the cereal was actually garbage. It was not good at all, but because it had Super Mario on the box, I wanted it. And I think my parents went through the same thing you did, where I was begging them for stuff, and they were like, "No, you're not having that because it's it's $5, $5 versus $2 for the cheap name brand stuff, which is fine."
On the other side of that, Ecto Cooler was delicious.
I don't know if I ever had Ecto Cooler.
You never had Ecto Cooler? Oh man, had Ecto Cooler.
We didn't get everything up here, unfortunately.
Oh man, you guys didn't get Ecto Cooler? It was so good. That was one of the few movie crossover ones that I feel like was actually really good. Was Ecto Cooler?
Yeah, that was before Walmart was not a thing up here until I want to say the late 90s. So it would have been well after all the Ghostbusters stuff.
There was a lot of cool Ghostbusters stuff for sure. Anyway,
we are so distracted today. Let's talk about this parade while we're
So we're a couple months away from Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away, the first nighttime parade for Magic Kingdom in quite a while now. Trying to remember the last time the electrical parade was at Magic Kingdom. It's been a long time.
That was I want to say pre-COVID. Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think they've had anything since 2020, right? I mean, somebody can probably correct me.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't remember the last time there was an evening or outside of the the Halloween and the Christmas parades. I don't remember the last time there was an evening parade in Magic Kingdom. It's been that long.
It's really been a long time. Absolutely. But I mean, it was at Disney World for a little while, I think prior to the pandemic, but I don't know. Let's see. I'm just trying to look this up to see, but it doesn't look like it was there. I mean, we obviously still have the water pageant, but different. But this is a brand new parade, a nighttime parade finally for Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. It's about time that they've done this. We haven't had this in a while. So it's exciting. First of all, the attraction poster is very cool. I love when they make these posters for I know they usually will put them up in the train station as you're walking in, but these are always kind of cool to me.
Yeah, they always kind of speak to that old. It's that old Mary Blair kind of design almost, right? Like they do keep the marquee signs very consistent for that.
Well, and I've talked about this before that I have a bit of a problem with old attraction posters. I buy the prints of them.
You're obsessed with them.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, they're all over my house. Literally, I have attraction posters all over the place. In fact, just looking right now, I have a Big Thunder, a Space Mountain, and a Spaceship Earth behind me that are really cool and stylized. They're really, really, really neat. But I have a thing for these posters. I don't know why. There's just something cool about them. So I'm a fan of this one. But we're also seeing now they're trickling out some updates because this is supposed to be summer, right? This is opening, I believe.
Is it summer? Yeah, I've been trying to look for a date, which
It says this summer. I
keep hoping that maybe they'll start it early, but
it's probably not gonna happen.
I'm gonna miss all this stuff, which is unfortunate. But I guess I'll have to see it next year.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be there next year. So Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away. It's this summer. They haven't given a better time for it yet, but the Coco float is what they're showcasing in this article, and it looks awesome.
I love it.
It looks amazing.
Great.
Yeah. If it's actually going to look this way, and the what do you call it? What is this thing called? The
Griffin.
Pepita. Yeah. So he looks huge. I mean, really large.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that the Coco or sorry, what's his name? Miguel.
Yeah,
Miguel. Yeah. So I'm assuming that Miguel standing on the front is going to be a cast member or
live cast member,
live person. He's very big. That thing's going to be. I don't want to say or almost on the same scale as the Maleficent.
I was going to say it's probably not going to be as tall as Maleficent, but it's big. I mean, it's big. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I also like the stuff behind it too, it has the skulls and it looking like it's kind of like fireworks. Yeah, and then it's got the whole city of the dead, and the bridge, of course, too. Right, the bridge of flowers or whatever. Leaves. Is it leaves or flowers? I forget. Whatever.
They're flowers.
They're flowers. Okay.
Are they?
I haven't watched the movie in a while, but
I can't. Actually, I can't remember. I think they might. I think it's supposed to be like autumn leaves. But
Okay.
yeah, you're right. It's been a minute. And then also I see that it looks like Dante is like sticking out of the.
Oh yeah, there he
well.
is. Yeah, he's right there. I didn't even notice Dante. Okay, so and honestly, like the what was the parade that they recently had at over at Disneyland? That was the daytime and nighttime parade. Why am I forgetting the name of it? I've watched it 100 times.
Not Paint the Night.
No. The other one, the one that like debuted like a couple days before everything shut down. Like it had like 2 parades and then everything shut down. Why am I forgetting about the name of it? I don't know.
I'm drawing a blank too.
But that one has an awesome Coco float where it has Dante doing like jumping kind of like jumping over the bridge. It has like a really cool action for Dante. So yeah, I don't know why I can't remember the name of this parade.
Is it Magic Happens?
Yes, Magic Happens. That's a good parade, man. That's a good parade. But the Coco float on that is similar-ish to this. It's different, but it's a similar kind of design, but not on this scale. The actual giant. What'd you say was a griffin? Is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a griffin. He looks like a griffin.
Yeah. So listen, this and the coolest part about this is just looking at it. This is a nighttime parade, so this is going to be lit up incredibly, right? Like this is going to look so cool. This would look cool in daytime, but at night, this is going to be 100 times cooler.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I keep think again. You know, my baseline for nighttime parades now is Paint the Night. Yeah, and like yeah, we know that Disney can do really cool lighting effects, and you're right that they are showing it off here in these pictures. That I'm expecting that this whole float is just going to be front to back, like LEDs, all millions coordinated to the music and everything. Yeah, like it should be very impressive.
I mean, I think they shared this one, the Encanto one previously, which looks really good. But I feel like this Moana one looks amazing, just all the way down here.
Yeah.
I mean, that again the scale of these looks huge. And I don't know, what, maybe the scale that, because we're just seeing it in a picture and we have no frame of reference. I don't know. Maybe it's not as big. But I mean, it's Moana in her boat on the top of like a gigantic wave, basically. It looks amazing. I can't wait to see these things in person at some point because they do really look you got to see how they turn out compared to the concept art, but I feel like Disney's usually pretty good about matching up to the concept art. So
yeah, and I feel like you're right that they have the characters on these floats that I think do give you a sense of scale.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
because those are going to be cast members on the floats, and same thing like they have the princess float as well, which looks pretty predictable.
Talks about how basic it looked. Yeah, they do the same thing where they're just dancing in circles.
Yeah, but again, like looking at that, it's these floats are going to be pretty massive overall. Yeah. Like you're right. I'm expecting these to be pretty impressive. Again, on the same scale as like how they've done Maleficent and whatnot in the past.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll, like I said, I'm excited to see this. It's going to be interesting. The Moana one looks really awesome to me. They all look pretty well detailed and large. I mean, some of these are lower to the ground, but the Moana character is going to be standing. I mean, it's probably going to be about the same height as like Peter Pan does in the daytime parade.
Yeah, which
again I'm forgetting. Why can't I remember any names today, Trevor?
I don't know. And I'll admit the daytime parade for me, I forget the name of it as well.
Festival of Fantasy.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Festival of Fantasy. And Festival of Fantasy is the greatest parade I will never see because it gives me the ability to go and get a lot of rides done in the afternoon. And everyone else is
just want to prioritize rides. No, it's a great parade though. I mean,
I've seen it's great from like, as I'm running off to, my next attraction, I see it off in the distance and it looks fantastic, but I'll never stop and watch it.
Will you see this nighttime one though? You go see Paint the Night at Disneyland, but will you see this one here?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely we definitely prefer stopping for nighttime shows and parades and stuff like that. I think for sure I'll at least stop and watch this once. Whether whether it'll hit me the same way Paint the Night did. Like the thing about Paint the Night was that it also was kind of at a time in our lives where my son was young enough that, you know, he was really into it. So it was like, it was a whole family thing. If it doesn't resonate quite the same with me and my wife, you know, it'll probably be watch it once, be good, and then go off and do other stuff. Right. It's yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. Like it's, I don't want to take away from the fact that it looks really good. It's not just the look of the floats. It's how the parade plays out. Like there is a whole rhythm. There's the music. Everything has to hit the right way.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, that's what happened with the one that was during the one that replaced Happily Ever After, and during COVID. Like, the show itself was fine. It's the music was not good, and that made people hate it.
It was so boring. Honestly,
yeah.
We got to watch it during an after hours party, and we were like, "Oh, that's it."
That's what did you guys? Why did you do that?
And we were kind of, or we weren't like super excited, but we're like, "Oh, cool." We don't have to, or we've seen not Paint the Night. We've seen Happily Ever After a bunch of times, and they're like, "Oh, they're showing the other one," and we sat and we watched it. And when it was over, we kind of walked away and we were like, "That wasn't good. I kind of wish I had spent my time doing other stuff." Like it didn't. Yeah. So yeah, that's the hard thing, is that, these parades can definitely, they can be good, but it needs to have, I don't know what it is. It needs to be cohesive.
Cohesion. Yeah.
It can't just be, here's a bunch of floats. Like that was the thing about Paint the Night, was that the transitions in the music and everything all worked really well together. If this is just, here's a float, here's another float, and there's nothing really going on in between, then
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think
hope not.
I don't see that happening. I just feel like they're too. I haven't really seen a parade I haven't liked at Disney. Honestly, I feel like they're usually pretty great.
Yeah, I'm not saying, you're right. Like, it's not that there's bad parades. It's just a lot of them. I know for myself, it's once you've seen it, you don't really feel the need to stop and watch it again.
Yeah, except for like the Electrical Parade or Paint the Night, you probably have seen multiple times, right?
Exactly. And that's because of how the parades were structured, that they felt a lot more impressive than just. I guess the comparison is, like, Festival of Fantasy, I feel doesn't. I've seen enough of it that it doesn't really do anything for me. Whereas Paint the Night really, it is that cohesion. Like Festival of Fantasy doesn't feel cohesive to me. But I guess, to be fair, I'm also not interested at 3:00 in the afternoon at sitting down and watching a parade. So.
There's that. Yeah, we like the parades, obviously, because there's nothing more. And you probably experienced this when you're so much younger, but like my daughter looking up and seeing the princesses, which she thinks of the real princesses, and they're waving at her and they're looking directly at her. It's a priceless thing,
Yeah, like I said, it's for us, it's the same thing. We are at a different point in our lives where that is not a priority anymore. So. It makes the parades less valuable, I guess. Yeah, but again, even Paint the Night, though, like regardless of how old my son was, I really enjoyed that parade. Like it wasn't even, if we weren't there watching it with him, we still would have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Difference, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope this one meets that. It's a high bar, I think, that Disney needs to hit with nighttime shows, because they do need to make sure that this parade is something that people want to come back and watch more than once.
Yeah, I mean, because they failed hard at the Happily Ever After replacement, and you could also say they failed pretty hard at Harmonious too. Even though I thought Harmonious was a good show, it just had problems. We've talked about it before.
Illuminations is better.
Well, Illuminations is always better. I mean, listen, I even like the one that they have, the one that we have now. Was it Luminous or whatever? That show's good. That show's very good, very well done. The music's good. All of it's good. But nothing will ever hold a candle to Illuminations, and that's just me. And I know a lot of people don't like Illuminations for one reason or another, but I don't know. That's always the benchmark for me. So, all right, we should probably do our ad, Trevor, and then we get the other stuff. Yeah,
I'll just say I would actually put Luminous above Illuminations, and Harmonious was actually the bottom.
Yeah,
3. But,
that's I get it. Luminous is great. It's a really good show. I mean, they did a really nice job recovering from the Stargate incident.
Yep.
So, yeah, but I mean, like, listen, that Harmonious was an incredibly technical, like the technology they were using. They had the arms moving around, like it was very cool, and it was probably the most technical show they've ever done. But it just suffered from the flaw of you need to be in a certain place to watch it, or else you can't watch it. You know, where every other show at Disney, every other nighttime show, you could pretty much watch from wherever in the proximity of it, and you're fine. You know, that show, it really got ruined if you watched it from the side. So anyway, let's continue.
Let's do our ad, and then we can
muse more about this.
This week, our sponsor is DVC Rental Store, which is a World of DVC company that offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. As always, DVC Rental Store pays the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com/welcome home or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 382-7368. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
All right. So I've watched this video actually several times now. And the reason why I watched it several times, I watched it once, and then this morning I watched it again for, podcast research, obviously.
Clearly.
But there's some really interesting stuff. And what I'm talking about here is We Call It Imagineering episode 3. This is a series that Imagineering's been doing, specifically on YouTube. I don't even know if it shows up on Disney Plus. And we talked about it last.
Pushing it on YouTube,
and it's been mostly YouTube, right? But there's a lot of interesting things that were in this video, Trevor. And I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but
I did. Yeah,
it feels like they revealed a lot of stuff, like without talking about it. You know what I mean? So
there was lots of little like quick jumps to like showing ride vehicles, showing stuff from rides, and I see you kind of broke it down here in the.
I tried to, yeah. Well, the one though is that is not on my list, and I don't know if you saw this part, Trevor, but there's one part where and I remember talking about the patent for this, so I remember that when we were trying to speculate what this was going to be, but it almost looked like a kite. It looked like, and it was like being suspended by the 3 different points of the kite by wires, and it was like a soaring kind of thing. But it was like an individual car.
Oh yeah, it looked like a hang glider.
Yes, it looked like a hang glider. Yeah. It only popped up for a couple seconds, but I'm like, what is that? That doesn't exist anywhere. But I remember us talking about the patent for that because it was really an interesting idea and an interesting thought, and it just showed up randomly in the background of this. There was no explanation or anything; it just was there. And it shows up a couple times, but I saw that and I was like, that's so cool. But first of all, what are you going to use that for? And second of all, you can't get more than like a couple people on that at once. Like it's literally a whole theater for like 3 people, So I don't know. I'm assuming they could find a way to upscale it, but it just seemed like it was not practical.
I mean, to be fair, you can only get 6 people on Smuggler's Run, but the way that they actually talked about it in the show as well, that they have like essentially batteries of rooms where you can, or was it they had like 3 different,
they're big circles,
3 different sections, 3 different circles where they run the ride, and then if any of those break down or if individual ones break down inside of those, they can just take them offline and keep the rest of it running, which I feel like it could be the same thing with this hang glider thing you were talking about, where they can have it in separate rooms or sectioned off in such a way that, you can get a bunch of different, versions of the ride going at the same time. That would be my thought on how they would make use of a ride vehicle like that.
That makes sense. If you look at it too, the movie that's playing there, it almost looks like they just used Soarin' footage. Like it looked like Soarin' footage. And I don't know if like they want to replace it with something more like that someday. I don't know, but
it's kind of an interesting idea instead of having the massive banks and people commenting on watching through other people's feet and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually having taking that entire space and maybe splitting it up into multiple gliders, all kind of flying through it together. I don't know. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
That's an interesting use for it. Or like you said, it's the thing is that they definitely teased a lot of stuff. One of the first things you have on here is this ride vehicle that is for an upcoming Tangled attraction, which the funny thing about it is, and the thing to keep in mind, watching these shows is, they were showing a lot of different
this particular one was about ride vehicles. Yeah, they was focused on ride vehicles.
And I guess the thing to keep in mind is that things that they're showing there, they're all prototypes, and that doesn't necessarily mean that any of it is going to make it to a park anytime soon. Like
True.
the hang glider thing, that could be another 10 years out before you see any practical use of it.
100%.
The funny thing about this other ride vehicle, though, is that it looks like they took a teacups vehicle and they made it more uncomfortable is what it looks like to me.
They made it much closer. This is for Disneyland Paris. I don't know, maybe people can fit better for Paris.
No, that is very small. I don't care if it's Disneyland Paris or what. That is like, there's 3 adult men in there and they look like they're very pressed into the. I
feel like I'd never be able to get out of it again. I'd just live there for the rest of my life. There's 3 adults in there, but it's small.
Yeah, and actually looking at it, it does just look like it looks like a teacup ride.
It is.
So
I'm actually wondering if it's like that same ride system they use for Alien Swirling Saucers, where it's like the teacup, but it passes off to the other circle. It's almost like the combination of the teacup and the whip,
Yeah, that's right. They could actually combine the two, where the vehicles move around, and also it looks like they've added something. I could be off on this, but it looks like they're they have the ability to tip to one side or the other.
That's what I was wondering, if maybe they rock because they're boats.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't really say that. Did they show that in the video? I don't think that they did. But
not in the video. I'm just looking at the picture that they have for there's the concept art for the for the arena, or I don't know what you call that, where the teacup or how the ride would be positioned. Yeah, just the way that they kind of did the drawing, a couple of the ride vehicles look like they're off center, or that they've tipped to one side or the other. So
interesting.
Maybe it's I mean, spinning and tipping, I don't know how well those two things go together, but
guess we'll find out.
Sounds great on paper. I don't know if it works in practical,
in real life. Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. And then there's the new e-ticket ride that's going to be coming to Marvel. I don't know, what is it, what's the actual name of that land in Disneyland?
The Marvel Avengers area campus.
Avengers Campus. Yeah, so it's the new e-ticket ride they're building, and we really haven't seen a lot about it. We just know that it's called Avengers Infinity Defense. But they gave like a pretty decent look at it in this. It's clearly going to be a ride vehicle, like maybe a trackless ride vehicle, and it's going to be 3D, right? Based on this.
You know what this is, right?
Well, it's
Star Tours, but Marvel.
But Marvel? No, see, I think it moves, though. I think it moves forward.
Okay, but technically Star Tours moves forward as well.
no, but I think it's more of I think it's probably more comparable to like a trackless ride vehicle that can also do the bumping around that like Indiana Jones and stuff does.
Okay.
Because the reason why I'm saying that is because in the clip they show them opening a door, which looks like one of those doors that they use to go from scene to scene in dark rides.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see.
See what I'm saying?
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only reason I'm saying that, because it looks like the door opens for them to go into the next room or whatever. But yeah. And then, of course, this is, like I said, it looks like it's 3D and we don't know what it's going to be. But the article we're looking at here is saying that they think it's the same kind of ride system that the new Peter Pan ride is using at Fantasy Springs, which, I think is not all that dissimilar from what I'm talking about here. Although I don't think I've actually looked at any videos of this, but it's I think it's trackless, right? I don't know.
I mean, isn't everything trackless nowadays?
I mean, Yeah, I guess, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at that now. So
you look at the
I
video
was
too,
thinking, I was thinking initially that that because of how high the walls were on the vehicle that they were testing, I was thinking it was going to be like Star Tours where you just had essentially visibility out the front, but it looks like the top is supposed to be open, and I guess the big thing is that there's going to be a lot of screens. So,
well, yeah.
But that's also where I guess the point I was making too is that I wouldn't be surprised if the way that they offer this up or the rewritability of it would be that because it's a Avengers multiverse thing that you don't get the same scenes every time. So that's where the Star Tours thing comes in. Is every time you ride it, you could maybe go to Wakanda, you could maybe go to Asgard. Stuff
that would
like
be cool, actually, if they did that. Yeah, that'd be cool if they made it like that. And just to be clear, too, the Peter Pan ride is a mix of physical sets and 3D. I have a feeling that's what they're going to do here, too.
Yeah, I guess looking at I'm just looking at the screenshots of it. Yeah, everything just looks like a bunch of screens. I don't even see any physical.
Yeah, well, they're just testing, though, too. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to have them. It's just... This is just they're testing the projection.
I'm talking on the Peter Pan stuff. I don't. See any physical.
There's physical sets. Elements. There's physical sets in there.
Well, they're not obvious if they are there, but I guess I would have to watch the full POV.
Well, they're also not. I don't know if they have any animatronics, but they do have like the sets around it. You know what I mean? They have like actual real sets. It's almost like
kind of like Ratatouille.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison because Ratatouille does have screens, but they use them. I feel like they don't use them that liberally in that ride. I feel like they do have a lot of physical sets, and then they use them where it makes sense. You know, but
there is definitely a good amount of overlap. And
sure.
I guess that's if they do it that way, that's fine. My big issue is if it's just screens, that doesn't feel great, and it goes back to the point we said about just doing everything with screens feels cheap. But if they're finding that good balance of making use of the screens where it does make sense, and then having the actual set pieces work alongside of it, it could be really good. But like I said, I wonder where. I wonder how much or if they're going to have like rotating scenes through it. Because this is the thing is if they're doing the rotating scenes like Star Tours, you actually get in a place where they either have to figure out how to reuse set pieces or it hits a point where everything is just screens, kind of like Star Tours, because if they're updating it I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those ride vehicles that they're planning to use it the same way they do Star Tours as as we're updating this universe, you get new scenes, you get new stuff, right? Like it seems like this would definitely be one of those rides that, doesn't stay the same over years, because it's actually a very smart way to do it, honestly.
Well, that's kind of the benefit of screens, right? Is that you can change the ride, not easily, but fairly easily, right? Like you can change the storyline of the ride or upgrade the technology if it's all screens. If it's, animatronics, that's a little bit of a different story. It takes more time to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll have to see. We really haven't. This is like literally the first detail I think we've seen of this ride outside of like one piece of concept art. So.
Yeah, the couple of things though that got me was the 3D glasses and just the way the ride vehicles look. I feel like they are looking to make this into a Star Tours 2.0, basically. That's what I feel it's supposed to be.
Maybe, yeah. If it is, that's not a terrible thing. Star Tours is pretty great. So, the other one too. So I remember seeing this announced and thinking, that this Tony Stark, the Stark Flight Lab thing might be kind of like whatever, but watching the video about it looks awesome. Just based on like the idea that you'll be sitting in like the chair in the ride vehicle, and then you'll be moving down like a roller coaster track, and then an arm's just going to come and pick you up and then put you back down at some point on a different spot. Like that's kind of crazy technology to do that. Yeah.
I don't feel like it would be a roller coaster track. I feel like it's more of a, it's not going to be that fast.
No. That's not what I mean. They're just using a track for a roll roll,
like an Omnimover type track.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, the part that is honestly scary to me about this is the fact that you do have a robotic arm and they said, it's very this very interesting technology that they're having two different ride systems where you have the track ride system and then the arm, and you're decoupling from one and connecting to the other, and then, like you said, moving and then being put down somewhere else.
That's crazy.
That to me is scary because, having a robotic arm swing you around in the air based on someone being like you're not welded to it. They're attaching and detaching to it. Seems it's cool and interesting that they're doing that. I don't know if I feel
you don't know if you trust it. I would trust it. Yeah. I mean, Disney cares about safety. I think this is going to be it's going to have to be like it's going to have to be locked in order for it to start moving. I can't imagine
there's going to be tons of safety protocols, but then
safeguard on top of safeguard, right? I mean, yeah. I
also feel like at some point one of these robotic arms is going to fail, and it's going to be stuck in a position where somebody
upside down,
20 feet in the air, and
yeah.
But you're right; it is a very cool idea, and it looks very interesting. Again, the problem too is this is all West Coast, so
there's that too, yeah.
So you don't get to, or we don't get to go, oh, this is great that they're doing it over here, and maybe it'll come to Disney World at some point, or maybe they will figure out how to get stuff, that they can actually start doing more of it at Disney World. It just sucks because,
I get it.
Yeah, it's another one of these Avengers Campus things, which I'm not opposed to. It is just I wish that they would do it in both Disneyland and Disney World.
Well, yeah, I think we all wish they could have a Marvel presence at Disney World, but we know the issue there. There's some Marvel presence. There's just not a lot. I still tend to believe that Disney will get those rights back at some point. I think Universal is getting possibly tired of paying all the royalties to Disney for that stuff. This has been reported. Yeah. It's not like I'm making this up, but
yeah. The one thing I hope from this particular ride system is if this does well enough that I don't know how else you could use this is the only thing, but it would be interesting if they did. It would be interesting if they did other rides outside of Marvel. That's the other thing I don't like about it either is that they're really heavily pushing like Marvel stuff, which I'm not all that into Marvel anymore. So it would be cool if they found a different way to use this with another IP, but I don't even know what it would be at this point. Like I'm looking at the track layout and how all the arms are moving like independently. So that's something else too that I think is kind of neat about this was that they talked about there's a dance element to this attraction, which is they showed it in the video where they had people like acting as the robotic arms and kind of like playing out different movements and stuff, which makes for an interesting ride that, not everybody is doing exactly the same thing. So
yeah. It is worth noting one of the Harry Potter rides already uses one of these arms and uses it on the arm is on the arm itself, I think, is on the track or but you don't have like 10 or 15 of them all moving in concert. Yeah. It's different. Yeah. But they have done this already. It's kind of similar. It's just a little bit of a different kind of setup, but yeah, it's definitely not the first time this technology has been used for sure. So
yeah. We saw it at Innoventions years ago. It was,
even before the Harry Potter stuff, like these things have been around for a long time. So.
It's really the detaching and attaching the seat to and from the arm that is kind of crazy.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool for sure. So anyway,
all right. The last thing, is we saw in this video there was definitely some hinting at what the track layout will look like for the new Cars ride coming to Magic Kingdom.
The interesting thing is they actually didn't point out in this article, like there's a whole TV behind them during one of these scenes that has like the layout in
it has better a top-down view of there is
this paper one is fine, but it's not, It's not great.
The top-down view shows definitely a couple of things. There's a pretty big circular portion on it, and it looks like there's a pretty long straightaway in the track, which I was wondering if they were going to do something like that, where in both Cars Land and Test Track, you know, they had the section where they really like get the ride vehicle going pretty fast. And I was wondering if they were going to do that on this one, but it looks like they've definitely accounted for that.
Yeah, and it looks like there's going to be a lot more, what's the way to say this, height to it, right?
Yeah.
Like whereas there's not a lot, and I don't know specifically for the Cars Land one, but this looks like you're going up a mountain and then down a mountain, and you know, like it's you're actually going to be going up and downhill a lot more. But
yeah, the Cars one has a little, or I guess it's about the same as Test Track. Like it's not a ton of up and down, but and actually the final race portion does actually have more hills to it now that I'm thinking about, because you do actually duck under a bridge, which is kind of neat.
If you pull up this video and go to timestamp 1513, you can see they have an overhead view of the track of what it's going to look like. Like you said, there's a big straightaway there. Obviously, it looks like there's a big round part. We're assuming that this is for the new ride and not for, you know, something else. I don't know. Maybe that's Radiator Springs Racers back in the background. I don't know. Is that what it looks like? But
no, that's not what it looks like.
So yeah. So
there's no roundabout in Radiator Springs Racers. Like there's not that circular portion. And
I'm assuming this roundabout piece, you're gonna end up going upwards. It looks like you're going up and then, you know, going back down again. So this is going to be really an interesting ride. They're definitely doing something very different here with this ride, and it's neat. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
The other part too is, and I didn't put everything that was in the video in here because there was a lot of things.
Go watch the video if you want to know what we're talking about. Go watch the video.
Well, they also mentioned too, one of the people that was breaking this down brought up the fact that the cars, the individual seats in the Monsters Inc. ride are going to be able to turn, which is something I pointed out last show because nobody was mentioning it for some reason. And they obviously turn, but they said in this video too that you're going to be able to see other trains, and that while you're in the main room there, so you'll be able to see other people flying around, kind of like you saw other doors and all that. But also that there's going to be in the room where you're getting on the train, there's going to be trains going up and down, like I guess constantly. So it's going to be kind of like what it looked like in the last floor, you know, where you just have the doors coming up and down, and but it's going to be with roller coasters. So, which is pretty cool. It's going to be really interesting to see this one too.
And that's what I said is it's, you know, that adds to the ride, definitely, when there's always some kind of kinetic movement going on. And
for sure.
That video actually was really great, I think, for kind of laying out what new stuff is coming. Right. I think for me, it definitely, it got me excited about things that, even though I know that they're still years out on some of these things, just watching how they pan out is going to be interesting. Right.
I totally agree. It'll be really interesting to see how all this ends up shaking out. So, but
okay. You got one last thing on here, and I'm guessing you probably have your finger on a button that you want to push.
I don't know, man. I feel weird about doing food time because I feel like I'm annoying some people with it.
Well, I mean, it's okay. You can. If people are annoyed, they're allowed to be annoyed. You can do whatever you want. It's our show.
That's true.
By the way.
All right. Well, if you don't want to hear food time, you can skip right now.
Food time. Damon's not here, so our mission is clear. It's food time. Food time. Team food is ready unless it has dairy, because it's food time. Food time. With Tom and Trevor, this will take forever, because it's food time. Food time. Food and wine. We have the time, because it's food time. Food time.
I probably should just make like a short version where it's just like it's food time.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Like if we want to play it quick. All right, so we got Easter food coming up here, and this is an Easter food guide. This is going to start basically, if you're listening to this now, starting now, March 18th through April 20th. So yeah, so it's there for a good month. If you want any of these things. So
the first thing is the Thumper popcorn bucket.
Yeah,
which I kind of forgot that Thumper was a thing for a long time, but yeah, it's I know. I mean,
it did disrespect the classics.
I don't go back and watch Bambi. We know that. But yeah, no, it looks good. Like it looks like a decent sized popcorn bucket, and doesn't. A lot of times I feel like their popcorn buckets are very unwieldy. Like they always, or a lot of times they do them in such a way where it doesn't feel like you could reasonably carry it around. This one looks like a popcorn bucket. All right. I feel like, you could carry it around and not like, I'm actually looking at, I have a TIE Fighter one that is just awful because
it's awful.
It is because like the sides of the TIE Fighter are just these big pieces of plastic. And then there's like a small dome in the center where your popcorn sits, but it's really inefficient. Like this
bad use of space.
A lot better. Yeah.
Bad use of space. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like the Skyliner one I bought when I was with you. Although I looked like a moron walking around the parks with it around my neck because it's huge. It held a lot of popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't the only one that had one. So
no, I know I wasn't. I know, but it's still. I was like, I feel like it was much bigger than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So anyway, we also have let's see, a painted egg whoopie pie, cinnamon sponge cake with maple buttercream filling topped with pastel chocolate and springtime sprinkles. This looks good. It looks like a straight up regular whoopie pie, but I mean, it still looks good. It sounds good.
Do you like cinnamon in your?
I love cinnamon.
Yeah.
Give me as much cinnamon as you can.
Cinnamon and maple buttercream, actually. Yeah, that goes really good together.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's no complaints there. And same thing with the carrot cupcake with cream cheese, buttercream, chocolate cookie crumbs, and sprinkles.
Okay. We don't have a picture of that one, though.
Yeah, they don't have a picture, but I mean, yeah, why? The whoopie pie, it looks good. I feel like they should have shown off the carrot cupcake as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Carrot cupcake is it's basically a carrot cake, right? I mean, that's what it is. I don't know why they're calling it carrot cupcake.
Is that actually? I think it's further down past the egg pictures.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There it
okay.
Is, yeah.
I see. Listen, we give them a hard time sometimes for not doing decorations. This one is like frosted, very cool.
Yeah, it looks like a carrot sticking out of a garden.
Yeah,
the dirt and everything.
I mean, someone took time to do that. But that one looks very cool. Of course, the eggs are coming back too, so the Easter egg displays, which are always fun. So this is not really a food time thing, but there's that stuff coming back, and there's some really neat ones in here. Like there's a couple Moana ones I'm seeing at a beach club or yacht club. Then let's see further down here. Do we have? There's more food in here, right? Well,
they keep mixing in the eggs. So they're showing the egg displays, which actually I guess the one thing that they're trying to highlight is that each resort has different eggs on displays. So
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just scrolling down and I'm looking at this Grand Floridian one, and there's a giant egg is sitting in a popcorn bucket. And when I first saw it, I thought that was actually one of the treats that they were doing. Like maybe it was like a giant white chocolate egg that you could eat, but no, it's an egg. I really want to eat it now, though. Yeah,
that Alice in Wonderland one is amazing
with the gears and everything. Yeah, that looks incredible.
That is so intricate. I love that.
Yeah, wow, that is really really cool. Wow. Some of these are really neat. I've never actually gotten to see the eggs before, so that one's been one I haven't gotten to see. But then let's see what else we got here. Not a lot of new stuff, actually.
Yeah. I'm scrolling too, and here we go. Easter egg petite cake at Amorette's. Yeah. So we're down at Disney Springs now, which I feel like they have something every year. They
have something for every holiday, basically. Yeah. Every holiday.
So this is a carrot cake with cream cheese filling and pineapple jam.
That's odd.
I see people put pineapple into carrot cake. I've seen it happen more than once. And I just I like pineapple and I like carrot cake, but they need to not be in the same dish.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree. Yeah. Do you want to save this next one, by the way? Because don't you like saying this word?
Well, it's a croquembouche,
Yes,
which
croquembouche.
Yeah. So it's a chocolate pâte à choux. Yeah, chocolate hazelnut custard, chocolate ganache, and a white chocolate Easter stamp.
That looks delicious.
The stamp on the top, and again, this goes back, and this is Amaret's. This isn't just like, straight Disney, but the stamp on the top, it looks very detailed. Like it's not just a printed thing. It looks like somebody made a chocolate mold and did the stamp out of that.
Hand stamp.
Yeah. Which again, I like that attention to detail.
Yes.
When they're doing stuff like this.
This one doesn't feel lazy. I mean, the Amaret's stuff
not at all.
does, honestly. I mean, because even this Thumper cake bar, it's a mixed mousse, a berry mousse combined with vanilla chiffon cake. It looks like it actually has cookie crumbs on the outside where Thumper's standing to represent dirt. I mean, they obviously put. Yes, they do just have the character photo on there, although. It's not a popular character. I mean, people like Thumper, but it's not like, one that people go seek out, right?
Yeah, it's not just like the Mickey ears, I guess, which is like that's probably the laziest version of the printed the printed thing is just Mickey ears printed out and put on whatever it is they're selling.
I just went down to the ganachery and now I'm like, I wish I was going to be here during this time because I want all of this.
All right.
Over at the ganachery, they have Mickey chocolate bites, solid milk chocolate, and orange crispy pearls, and dark chocolate with strawberry crispy pearls. It's basically just, it almost looks like, it's like chocolate popcorn almost. It looks like, right?
Yeah,
because it has all the pearls.
Crazy. Yeah,
it looks delicious though. And then there's a peanut butter and marshmallow pop, which is a peanut butter ganache layer with vanilla marshmallow covered in milk chocolate and caramel crispy pearls, and it's on a stick. It's peanut butter.
I would go for it just because it's peanut butter. I love peanut butter. Yeah,
absolutely. And then there's they always have a piñata. They always have the piñata. And I've done the piñata. It's fun. If you want something fun to do, if your kids like smashing things, it's a good way to take out their aggression while also getting some candy. So it's a milk chocolate bunny piñata, milk chocolate shell with jelly beans and marshmallow treats inside. Yeah, that's just great all over. Just I want to just live in the ganachery, just never leave there. Just feed me all of the chocolate things you're making at all times.
Every day, just go and try something new.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. That's how I feel about
it. So now the rest of it we have at Disneyland. So
and none of it's new. None of it's new.
Yeah. Nothing that we haven't already covered. So so like they have the. That's still saying it's at the Contemporary Cafe. Well, why did they put that down there?
I don't know.
I don't understand why they split it up that way, but
doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, not too much new stuff, which is, I mean,
it's a holiday thing. Yeah, it's a short-term holiday. They don't usually do a lot of new stuff when they have situations like that. So, yeah. Well, I guess we can just wrap it up then, Trevor.
Yeah, works for me.
Wrap her up.
All right. So, as usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you and hearing your thoughts on the show and sharing your trip reports and questions and all that kind of stuff. You can also find us on social media. So you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Make sure you check out our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where we talk about all kinds of stuff that you hear about on the show and just general Disney discussion, as well as memes and trip reports, all that kind of stuff. So, if you're looking for a Facebook group that has a bunch of fun Disney people in it, make sure you check out our group. And if you want to support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can check out our different merch there. And, maybe you need some shirts for your next trip or something like that. Make sure if you pick something up, we love seeing pics of you guys enjoying our merchandise. So, please share those as well on social media if you do happen to pick something up. Same thing on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our different levels of Patreon support, which have an exclusive logo that you can only get on Patreon. And all of our Patreon supporters get access to the Discord server, which is yet another place that we enjoy talking about the show and just general Disney stuff and randomness as well.
Lots of randomness.
Yeah. Last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere that you can leave a review on the show, leave us a 5-star review. It does help it does help us get the show out to more people, and it helps just, make the show get more popular. I guess we want to be popular,
more listeners.
Like how, like that Wicked song. I guess I've not watched Wicked. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay. You saw it, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, I could have sworn you went and saw it.
No, my wife is a big Broadway person, and she loves Wicked and is obsessed with Wicked, but it's not one that she's dragged me to yet. So, or had me watch. Okay. I know of it. I
just know that there's a song about being popular in it. So, right, we want to be popular too. So leave us that 5-star review.
You want to talk about things that are everybody else's jam, but not my jam? Wizard of Oz. Don't care. I'm just being honest. I'm not, I've seen it. Doesn't do anything for me, Yeah, and listen, fair. That's fine. I don't care if anybody likes it and loves it, or if you love Wicked. It's just not my thing. Anyway, continue.
Well, actually, I'm done because I covered off.
Okay, you did all the things. Okay. Yeah. Well, so on top of everything Trevor just said, and my dislike for Broadway shows. I'm just kidding. I like Broadway shows. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app that's out there. You can find us. And of course, just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please call a Disney cast member or, DVC cast member for anything we talked about today. Just, if you need more information, don't listen to us. We don't know anything. We just read the news and say stuff. So go and confirm it if you really, we just say things. We don't know. We don't have any inside info here. So a big thank you, of course, to DVC Rental Store for sponsoring this episode, and World of DVC for continuing to be our biggest supporters and friends in the industry. They are amazing, and if you need anything DVC related, you should check them out, and just make sure you tell them you heard about them from Welcome Home. They love that. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion, and of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.